Hello, good afternoon. As you guys are coming in, comment. If you're joining us from YouTube, put something in the comments. If you're joining us from Instagram or LinkedIn, go ahead and put something in the comment. Let me know that you're here. Hey, even let me know where you're coming from today. So, as you guys are coming in, drop in the comment. I'm really excited about the content that we're going to be sharing today because I'm probably even going to offend some people and, just kind of tell them how it is. I've been having a lot of coaching calls lately where people are struggling. I've been having a lot of coaching calls where people are having massive, massive success. And one thing that I know is that there's a common thread between all the people that are having success and the people that are struggling. And I wanted to be able to kind of break down for you guys real quickly. Here's some of the things that I know are absolutely working in today's market. Now, we see people, myself and Meryl, we see people from all over the country, even up into Canada. And one thing I can tell you is that almost every single market by now has felt a shift. So if you've been following along with us here in the Phoenix metro area, it was last April when we first started to see that inventory was going up for the first time in years, like over 2 years. We started to see our inventory go up. And guys, it went up all through quarter 3 and almost all through quarter 4. It wasn't until November of last year where we finally started to see our inventory go down, but our inventory went from, 4,000 active homes to 24,000 active homes. So, we went really, really far up, and then sales going down. And for the first time in a long time, we saw even our values start to, depreciate. But I will tell you, all of that changed for us here in January. We have seen buyer demand come back in a very, very strong way. And that has been increasingly month over month. Buyer demand is back. Inventory is going back down. We're under a 2-month supply of inventory. And I joke and say our market was bipolar. Legitimately, we went from a super strong seller market to for just a second, a neutral market to a strong buyer market. And then it was dismal in November and December. And a lot of people had to get out of real estate and find something else to do because they weren't making any money. So again, depending on when that hit your market, for my milestone people in Dallas, I know that several of your markets are finally coming back where a lot of the buyer demand is increasing. We're starting to see some multiple inventory. I'm not sure about Reno, but I know Las Vegas is something that's experiencing something similar to Phoenix with buyer demand coming back. And my girls, my beautiful, beautiful family out in West Virginia, they're also selling cabins. And that not only do they sell residential resale, they sell hunting cabins and acreage and some beautiful, beautiful properties. So Connecticut has plenty of buyers and little inventory. You're right. I do coach someone in Connecticut, and the inventory never did increase at the rate which we saw in some of these bigger markets, like, heavy markets like Austin, Dallas, Salt Lake City, and even parts of California are still being hit pretty dang hard. But overall, the message I want to give to you guys today is, you guys came here because we wanted to talk about a couple things. We wanted to for sure talk about how do we win and survive in a market like we're in right now. So whether you're coming out of it like we are in, the Phoenix metro area, or you are, doing something else, what can we do to get business in the next 30 days? Like, what can we do? So that's kind of what I'm gonna jump into. Let me pull up my slides, present, share screen. Let's do this one. Slideshow. Do you guys like how I'm just narrating? I have to do it out loud. I can't think and do it at the same time. So let's talk about how do you get some business in the next 30 days. So here's what I'd love to know. comment right now as I'm going through, what are you doing right now that's working, right? So where is the business that you've got in quarter 1 and are putting under contract in quarter 2? Where is it coming from right now? And so let's share with everybody what's working. And then I'm going to kind of jump in as well so we can make sure. There's not going to be a lot of resources, but as always, I do these things and I'm happy to share anything that I have with you guys. Just reach out to me via message or Instagram. If you're still waiting on the SOPs, I'm getting with Kelsey today. We'll get all of that out to you shortly. I've got a bunch of emails and a bunch of DMs. I haven't forgot about you. I just am busy. I should have had a better process in place. We're going to talk about getting business in the next 30 days. So open houses, someone said open houses and embracing my CRM. We're definitely going to be talking about that subject right there. And we're going to be talking about some of these things. So the first thing I want to talk about is your zone of greatness, your zone of greatness. And what does that mean? So a lot of my clients, I'm going back to some very basics. I'm saying, okay, tell me what you are absolutely good at. Like if I had to say, Tanya is the best at fill in the blank, what is she good at? So the last time that I did this, my client said, I am really good at communication. I excel at communication. I said, okay, let's talk about communication in your business. Where do you excel? And we kind of broke it down. And a lot of it was within the contract. And I said, okay, so how can we add prospecting to your zone of greatness, right? If you're really good at talking to people, how do we talk to people? We talk to people over the phone, we talk to people via email, and we talk to people in person. So we kind of listed out her zone of greatness of communication and how she communicates. And then we said, what does it look like to prospect in person? And we added prospecting to her zone of greatness. Well, that's open houses, that's networking, that's coffee dates, right? Because then we even applied her zone of greatness 2 different lead pillars to help her understand. If you're truly great at networking, how do we get you in front of more people to network? If your zone of greatness is, closing on the phone, well, how do we do that even more, right? One of the things I'd have you do is like, what are you really, really good at? Are you a great problem solver? Are you great at communication? Are you great at marketing? What is your zone of greatness? Now, one thing I have to remind you all is you're also in sales. So if part of your zone of greatness is not selling real estate, you might be in the wrong part of real estate, right? You might be focusing on something different. We are salespeople. Yes, we help families. Yes, we help people and individuals realize their real estate goals. But at the end of the day, we are selling something. We're selling our services. We are convincing that we're the best person for them to choose as their listing agent or their buyer's agent when they're making this move in this transaction. So whatever your zone of greatness is, remember to add prospecting to it. How can you use your God-given talents to attract and acquire more people? I often find that right now, the people who are struggling are considering their marketing efforts to be more important than their prospecting, or they're kind of thinking that their marketing is prospecting. So I'd love for you guys to comment. What's the difference between marketing and prospecting? In your opinion, what is the difference between marketing and prospecting? So what is the difference between marketing? What is marketing, right? Let's even give some examples of marketing, right? Marketing includes print materials. So if you're sending out a postcard, right? I know Bonnie sends a lot of postcards out. Postcards is an example of marketing. Shane says, marketing is passive and prospecting is active. Yes, it is. Marketing is passive, i.e. mail outs are passive. Social media, would you guys consider that active or passive, right? Marketing is an important part of your business. It's absolutely an important part of your business. Marketing is getting your name out there, i.e. social media, having active conversations. Absolutely, you guys got it. It is getting your brand recognition out there. It's an important part of your business. However, if you are struggling to get deals right now, marketing is not going to hurt you, but I can tell you that you'll get there quicker to your next deal if you add prospecting. So everybody on here, Shane and Bonnie and Tanya, everybody said, hey, prospecting is active. What does that mean that it's active? Right? If marketing's passive, so we send out an email, we put a post on social media, we put out a flyer or a mail out, and then we wait, right? That's kind of the passive part. We wait. That's marketing, and it's an important piece. The active part of prospecting is, think of, I'm hunting for business. I am hunting and gathering information. I'm really, really going out and putting myself out there to find people. I'm not going to wait for people to come to me. I'm going to go find those people. Following up directly absolutely is part of prospecting. I don't know why we call it prospecting, because that sounds weird, but what we're trying to do is we're looking for people. We're looking for people who need our services. We're not waiting around. The market that we're in right now, knowing that across the nation, there are fewer sales happening, right? Homes are still selling. I think we're projected to do like 4.5 something as a nation. So homes are still selling. In our market, over 5,000 homes are selling each month. So we know that homes are still selling, but fewer homes are selling. And I heard Jimmy Mackin from Curator, he described the current real estate industry as the Hunger Games of real estate. So if you've ever seen the Hunger Games, I read the books in my 30s. I like that style of book, but I read it and I absolutely loved it. But the Hunger Games is about survival of the fittest, like narrowing it down. Currently, right now, we have more real estate agents than we've ever had in our country, and we're going to do fewer transactions. So when he says that it is the real estate of the Hunger Games of real estate, it's because you need to outlast all of the schmucks. You need to outlast the competition. What does that mean? It means you have to be active. You have to be actively moving your business forward each day. So this is where I said I'm probably going to lose some people and I'm probably going to make some people mad. What I'm going to share with you right now is not a trick or a hack or some silver bullet to save your business. It's all going to be prospect based on very minimal budget. So you're not spending money. It's going to be sweat equity based, sweat equity versus check equity. Some people are putting more into check equity. Go for it. I know a lot of my clients, I'm saying, hey, let's focus on the things that you have to do. Now, I'll also be a little bit vulnerable with you in telling you that some of you may be thinking, I'm a seasoned agent. I shouldn't have to go back to open houses. I actually had an agent tell me that. She was really upset about it. She was like, I did my time. I'm 15 years in the business. I did my time doing open houses. And I said, well, do you want to continue to be a real estate agent? If so, get back to the open house, right? Like get back to the open house. So make sure that your perspective on your place in real estate right now is humble enough to know that you may have to go back and do some of these fundamental things that you did when you were a first baby agent. You might have to go back and do them. Why? Because they work. And because many of them are just sweat equity. So the other thing that moving into the tactics that we're going to talk about, the other thing I'm going to tell you is that you're probably not working as hard as you think you are. You're probably not working as hard as you think you are, because our emotions are extremely vulnerable. You could be making calls and then someone is rude and they hang up on you or they say something mean. And the next thing you know, you just feel like, oh my gosh, every call is hard and I've been working so hard. But if you actually went in and measured it, maybe you made 15 calls. Maybe you were calling for 30 minutes. But in your head, you exaggerated it because of something that you encountered. Or like this morning, I woke up, and I was feeling really sore from this week's workouts. I've been super tired, and it's like, oh, have I been working out as hard as I think I am? I don't know, right? I gave an example on one of my Monday calls is I see a health coach every Monday, and she has me track my macros. So I've got to have a certain amount of, protein, a certain amount of fiber, and a certain amount of fat, and all within this caloric range. And sometimes when I'm really busy and I don't meal prep, I just start to like mentally add it up, and I'm like, oh yeah, that had protein in it, and that had protein in it. And I start thinking, okay, I'm really on track. And then I go in and I put everything in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was so off. I was not doing as good as I thought I was doing. Not even close, right? So I want you to get specific, and I want you to start measuring. So I no longer want you to wing your schedule or wing your numbers. You guys have heard me talk about don't wing it. Get specific. How many conversations are you having a day? Is it 5? Is it 10? Is it 15? Is it 20? We need to know what your baseline is, because if in quarter 1 you were having 10 conversations a day and you don't have the business, I've got some bad news for you. You need to have more conversations. We need to go from 10 to 20 or something like that. One of the agents that I coach, that's a realization he came to. He was accustomed to having around 50 conversations every single week, and his business wasn't doing what he needed to. And he came to the call and he says, I think I realized that I need to talk to more people. I was like, yeah, you think so? So we increased that number, and sure enough, we started to see a result. But if you don't know some of these basic numbers, how many appointments you're going on, how many people you're talking to, you're just guessing, right? And guessing's not going to help you get a paycheck sooner. So you need to figure out a way to start measuring. I'd love to hear from you guys. Those of you who are tracking, what are you using? Are you using your CRM? Are you putting it on a piece of paper and tallying it up? There's no wrong way to do it. How are you currently tracking conversations and appointments? Put it in the chat so we can help our fellow people who are not doing that. So let's get into massive action, right? Let's talk about how do we get into massive action so that we can get business in the next 30 days. So the first place I would start is with somebody said open houses and embracing my CRM. So the very first place that I would actually have you start is your database. Why? Because according to NAR, almost 70% of the people who sold their home used the agent that sold them the home, or they got a referral, right? They either used the agent that sold them the home or they got a referral. So we can't ignore your past clients. And if you're a brand new agent, you actually have to build a list from your sphere, right? You have to build the list. So the first thing I said on here is let's go ahead and build the list. How do we build the list? I'm going to give you some tips on how to build the list, but you need to go into your CRM. And you need to be collecting email, phone, and physical address. All of those pieces are going to help you do what Tanya said, which is follow up directly. When I have an email, I can reach out to someone with email. When I have a phone number, I can call them. And when I have their physical address, I can add some of those extra touches that are going to help me reach out to them. So for instance, one of the things that I like to do, and my coaching clients know this because I do it for them, is I like to send birthday cards and home anniversary cards. And this year we did something a little bit different. So Megan Cox, one of my coaching clients, she sent me a birthday card last year that was very similar to this. And it is huge. I mean, it's bigger than my face, right? This birthday card is huge. Meryl and I have been sending out birthday cards and home anniversary cards for a really long time. Almost nobody ever responds. Like never. That's what you guys have heard me talk about it. Like we send out stuff and people just don't respond. And that's okay, because when they need to sell their home, they call us. Well, since we changed to this ginormous format, Meryl and I have been getting calls and text messages. I got one this week from somebody that said that it totally made their day. It's the biggest birthday card they've ever seen. Simple investment, right? But we took time to build the list. Right? We took time to build the list and to put it into our CRM. Not only did we build the list, but it's in our calendars. We have process around it. So remember, database, matters, but you got to build a clean list. The other thing is, let's also make sure we're connected with our clients on social media so that they can see all of our stuff, our branding and our marketing, and reinforce to stay top of mind. When you're building your list and cleaning up your list. So the coaching call I was on just right before in May, she's going to touch 68 clients of hers, and she's going to clean up her database. So she's going to make sure that she's reaching out. If she doesn't have a phone number and she's only connected on social, she's going to get the phone number, she's going to get the email, and she's going to get the physical address. She already has the physical address because she sold them the house, but she's going to clean up the missing pieces. That might be your May goal is, I'm going to go into my database and I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to touch every single person. And if I haven't had a meaningful conversation, I'm going to do that. We're going to talk about how you offer value to your database, but let's not forget, frequent touches of value will help you stay top of mind. But if you're missing or have big gaps, or let's say that you're not organized at all and you don't even have a list of your past clients. Hey, Merrill was in that place at one point. He was so busy selling houses, he didn't have time to organize and structure a database, but he figured out pretty quickly that he needed to do that. And since then, luckily, he will tell you, like, most of his business comes from past client repeat and referral. It takes time to build that though, and it takes systems. So when we're talking to our database, I'd love to hear from you guys. How are you frequently touching your database and adding value? I'm going to give you a couple of ideas, but I want to know, how do you add value to your past clients in Sphere? One of the things that Merrill and I like to do is a market update. As you guys know, Merrill is very analytical. He likes to, do the numbers. And so he does a video breaking down the market, and we email that to all of our clients. Merrill mentioned equity reviews. We're going to talk a lot about equity reviews. I'm going to give you a great script that I got from Tom Ferry and Jimmy Mackin that you guys are going to go out and you're going to use, and you're going to text me or DM me with the results today, because I definitely want you to take massive action on this. Events, absolutely. You can invite them to events. That's an important way. Not all real estate related, but also community events, right? So how do we offer value? We reach out to touch them. We give equity reviews. We update them on the market. We invite them to events. We keep them aware of what's going on in the community so that they kind of know. One of my clients, Mike Rennick in Florida, he covers things that are going on, like parking structures and all sorts of stuff. His clients rely on him to get the nitty gritty of what's going on, because he distills that information and delivers it via video, both on his YouTube channel and via an email newsletter. So it's really, really good. It doesn't have to be complicated, right? What about getting face-to-face? How are you getting face-to-face, and how often should you be getting face-to-face with your past clients in your sphere, right? Someone mentioned inviting them to events. Yes, that's a way to get face-to-face. Remember, face-to-face can be one-to-one and it can be one-to-many. An event would be one-to-many, but one-to-one is always a great option. I love the way that Ninja Selling describes it as staying in flow, right? Getting in flow. Being in flow just means that we're synergetic with our clients. I'm going to share with you the one that I got from Jimmy Mackin. This is a tactic that I'm begging you guys, like, don't leave this, 40 minutes together without taking action on this today. So equity reviews, if they're your past clients, you can just start doing, CMAs and equity reviews for them and delivering them to them. And there's a lot of information about that. Maybe we'll even do a whole show on equity reviews and how Merrill, does them. It's pretty cool. And we learned a lot from our coach on equity reviews and the different styles. But this one's pretty simple. A lot of people are on Zillow. Whether we like it or not, they're on Zillow. So this idea of the Zestimate. Now, I don't know about you guys, but the Zestimate is not always right. So let's use that to our favor. The blue is an example of a text message. Now, this is a 3-part text message. It says, hi, Shane. I was on Zillow earlier today looking at a few properties in your neighborhood, and I thought I'd check out your Zestimate. Your home estimate is, and then enter the Zestimate number. Screenshot the Zestimate right off of Zillow. That's the second part of the text message. Then the third part of the text message is, I have my own opinion, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think? You can also do this in an email, right? So again, here's an email. You could do this as a DM. So it's like a text message, it's a DM, it's an email. It works great for past clients if you want to start up a conversation. But if you haven't done an equity review for them, I would start with an equity review. And this might even be a great like mid-year review if you've already done the equity review. I also love this for people who you've never done an equity review for, right? So maybe a neighbor, maybe, so someone you've got information for, you know where they live and you've got a relationship with, and it would make sense. They know that you're a real estate agent. You were on Zillow, right? You thought you would check out their Zestimate. What do they think? The whole point is to have a conversation, have a meaningful conversation with somebody. And, conversations that count, I would say, calls with a purpose. So when we're calling our sphere, Shane mentioned, let's not always make it real estate related, right? We want to have conversations that count. I recommend following the Ford model. How many of you guys have heard of the Ford questions? FORD. So Ford questions really come back to family, connecting with them, talking about the family, getting the update. I just had a complete and utter mind melt that just went away. Occupation. There we go. So family, occupation, R, recreation, D, dreams. So the idea is to talk about their family, their occupation, their recreation, and their dreams. If you are structuring your calls around the Ford questions, you're going to have meaningful connections. Recently, I was in a conference with Phil M. Jones, the author of Exactly What to Say. And one thing that he said that really resonated with me is he said, you should know your next 5 years of inventory. I was like, how the heck are you going to know that? But then he gave the example. So he says, so imagine that Christine Merrill are my clients, and I know that, when their high schooler moves out, they might want to downsize because they're not going to need that much room. Well, she's in 10th grade. She's going to be a junior next year. So probably in the next 2 to 3 years, they're going to be looking to downsize. And he makes a note of that, right? Well, how does he know that? Having a meaningful conversation. How are the kids? How's the house working for you? All of those great things, and just taking detail and putting that in your CRM. So you truly could build a list of inventory for the next several years by just knowing what's going on in your client's life, right? Yes, job transfers may come, and you may have to combine households and things like that. But if we truly are connected with our clients and we're in flow, then we will know, and we'll know what to expect in terms of Win Homes. One of our listings right now in Queen Creek, we knew about the listing 2 years ago. Our client told us, like, we're going to transition into new construction. It's going to be multi-generational. We're going to move the grandma in with us, and And we knew that inventory was coming, and we were able to prepare them. We even helped them to time it so that it might be advantageous for them. Rather than listing in December, kind of listing in the spring, and doing some things like that. So when you have meaningful conversations, it really matters. So let's transition about building a list and having conversations that count. So in a training that I attended with Phil M. Jones, he talked about this idea of building a list with purpose. So we know that we need to have meaningful conversations. We know that we need to reach into our database, but let's not forget our sphere. Let's not forget the people who already know, like, and trust us. So he gave us this acronym. I'll go through it really quickly just to help you guys build better lists, right? Build a better list of people to call. So the F stands for friends, and this is truly your sphere. You could go and Google a database generator. It's going to give you a list of all these different occupations, and you can fill it in. But why not start with your friends? When was the last time you looked at Facebook or Instagram or whatever social channel you're on and compared that to the people that you have in your CRM? If they're not in your CRM, should they be? Meaning, should they be within your marketing sphere? Should they be getting your newsletter? Should they be getting your market updates and different things like that? The R stands for records. And in this case, he recommends going to your past clients and making sure that you connect with anybody. Specifically, he said anybody that purchased in 2020 and 2021, because studies are showing that a lot of those people are unhappy because they had to make a lot of compromise. Yeah, they probably had to compromise, but they've also got great interest rates. So there's that. But kind of looking at your sales. So what he's also saying is if you don't have your house in order, get your house in order, get your records straight. The I stands for industry. This one was a little bit interesting because what he's suggesting is that you look at your sales and you figure out where do you get a lot of business, right? Do you get a lot of business from the Elk Club? Do you get a lot of business? Like when we looked at this, we realized we were getting a lot of Intel business. Well, where was all that Intel business coming from? Well, we had a lot of Intel clients, and Intel clients would refer us their coworkers, right? Which led to more Intel clients. Well, then by looking at that industry, how can I attract more Intel clients? How can I work within that industry to expand it? Building a list and do that. E-marketing, he's basically talking about anybody that came to you, right? So this could be open house leads. This could be Google leads, Google pay-per-click leads, Zillow leads, like going back and looking at all the people in your database that you could reach out to and maybe you haven't reached out to. So that lead follow-up, making sure you're going back and looking at the leads that you already have in your database. That one right there, you have to do that. Who's already in your database that's old and cold? Who ghosted you that maybe you should circle back with? Who said now wasn't the right time that you should circle back with? If you have a CRM, chances are you've got people. Bonnie needs to go call all of her old Zillow leads. I'm calling her out on this call. She needs to go call all of her old Zillow leads just to see if they purchased, and if they did, give them an equity update. If they didn't purchase, dig into why they didn't. I promise you that there's money in your CRM. You just need to go back into it. N stands for networking, right? And he's talking about you putting yourself in situations to meet people. So one of the things that Meryl and I are doing is we just joined a social club. I like it. She says, haha, love you, Bonnie. I want her to make money, right? So I'm telling her. But we just joined a kickball social club, and they call it a social league because it's a way to get to know people from in and around the area. Our team has lost all 4 games. 2 games were okay. 2 games we got demolished. In all fairness, it is our first season and we are just there to have fun. But that has opened up. I've already met 4 people that I didn't know before just from there. Each week I'm meeting new people on different teams. I'm going to build some relationships. I'm going to expand my network, and I'm playing, kickball at the same time. If kickball's not your thing, and let's say, cross stitching is, could you join a cross stitching club? How can you put yourself in rooms of strangers each week and maybe even have a hobby and something enjoyable? I promise you, you will find additional opportunities if you are networking. Directory, what he's suggesting is that you look at the people who are advertising in your area, you reach out to them. So for instance, if you got something in the mail from a plumber, reach out to them, ask them how that marketing's doing, where are they finding their business. So basically going direct to businesses and talking to them and seeing where and how they're working, and if maybe there's a partnership opportunity. And the last one, he says the S in friends is same name. And this is just a fun play on, you pick one name and you see how many people you know. Chances are you pick that name, you keep going, unless it's a name like Meryl. I've only ever met one other Meryl. But you pick that name and you say, okay, who do I know? Oh, that's right. There's this person and that person. It's kind of a fun game to help you figure out, right, who you should be talking to. So that's the database, and that's your sphere. The next one is nothing new. It's open houses. Why open houses? Because they work. They absolutely work. And when you're doing open houses, you're opening yourself to other areas of prospecting. Think about all the things that you can do around an open house, right? You could door knock around the open house and invite the neighbors. You could circle prospect around an open house and invite people and see if there's anybody that's thinking about selling. There's the open house itself and the traffic that you're going to generate through coming through. There's social media around the open house. There's advertising around the open house, should you choose to do some advertising around the open house, right? An open house leads you to snail mail, door knocking, calling, in person, social media. I mean, you could run a Facebook ad, you could create a Google event, you can create a Eventbrite, and open houses for the most part are free, right? If you don't have a listing, go find another listing to do. Absolutely. Now, here's one thing that I will tell you. You're probably not doing enough open houses. You're probably not doing enough open houses. If you're not having the year that you want to have, right? You can't do one open house a month and get the results that I'm talking about. You need to be doing 2 open houses a week. Meryl and I built our business on open houses. In fact, there was one time our coach challenged us to do 25 open houses in 25 days. We couldn't even get through 7 open houses because we had started to generate so much business. Now, my coach, he told me something that was really fascinating one time, and it's always kind of stuck with me, is he said, have you ever met a person that did, 100 videos on social media or on YouTube and didn't get a new piece of business? I was like, yeah, I've done 100 videos. You know what I mean? You can do a lot of videos. You can do a lot of social media posts and not get a new client under contract. But have you ever met somebody that did 100 open houses and didn't get business? Impossible. Like, you would have to be actively repelling people to not do and get any business out of 100 open houses. So if open houses are not working for you, there are lots of resources around open house. In fact, I think on my YouTube channel, we have like 2 different videos on how to run a kick butt open house and best practices within open houses. So there's no excuse on if you don't know how to do an open house. It's a sweat equity thing. I will tell you that doing open houses in the summer in Phoenix absolutely sucks. Your hands get burned, your skin gets burned, you drenched in sweat. And my husband is all about equality. He's like, you're going to set up and take down open house signs with me. I'm not going to do it for you. I'm like, I remember I was like, you can just do it. Like, I don't want to get all sweaty. He's like, oh no, you can help. You can help me. It sucks, right? It totally sucks. But I will tell you that the more open houses you do, the easier it gets. Don't dabble in the open house, and you don't have to do a mega open house. Okay. You don't have to have the freaking In-N-Out truck come, because that's going to cost money. You just need to do a lot of open houses consistently over a period of time. You will get better at it and you will generate right now business. It's a low pressure environment. Work on your scripts and you will get there. So I can't say enough about open houses. I've never had an agent do open houses consistently and not get business. Every time they do. I did once have an agent that was doing open houses. He did, I think, 20 open houses and he hadn't got any business. So I shadowed him. We immediately saw what the issue was. We changed it. And from that point on, he was selling homes with open houses. So don't be afraid to have another agent, come and shadow you, or better yet, you go shadow another agent in your market. Learn how to do the open house if you're not sure. I promise you, it works and you will get business. So another obvious one is going to be for sale by owners. And the reason I'm not bringing up expireds is because expireds cost money, unless you're just going to go door knock, which you totally could. For sale by owners, although, are free. You do not need to subscribe to any data to get for sale by owners. You can easily get that information on Zillow. And that's probably the easiest way to get the information is on Zillow. But I know that there's other websites out there that's like, that you can look at homes for sale by owner and get their information. So for sale by owner is another one that I would say that if you're struggling for business, go after these for sale by owners, right? We're in a tricky market. A lot of times it takes some different things to get a home sold. And these people have already decided they need to sell their home. And we already know from the statistics that over 70% of them end up hiring an agent anyways. So if you want a chance at it, though, you have to go over it. You have to go after it. So for sale by owners is kind of a no-brainer in my opinion, and it doesn't cost you any additional money, just time, energy, and effort. But if you don't have any appointments, you have the time. You have the time to go and do it, and you just need to do it. So outside of really focusing on your database and re-engaging, you will get referrals out of that, or you'll uncover business. Then you're going to really lean into open houses, and you're going to lean into for sale by owners, right? That's all the free way to do it. That's prospecting based. If there was one way that I would also say you could really focus on getting business in the next 30 days, that's more marketing, I would say lean into your Google business profile. Definitely spend the time to get reviews, right? If you're making all of these calls to your database, get reviews from them. The reviews absolutely matter. Janice Allen in Kalamazoo, Michigan sold 19 homes last year from Google Business for free. She didn't spend a single dime on getting those leads. They all Googled and found her. Lisa Crosby in Westchester, same deal. People Google all the time. They find her and she gets the business. So during this time, I would also make sure you're pouring into your Google business profile. I think we have 3 videos on our YouTube channel about how to start your Google business profile. And then we did an updated, like what you need to know about Google business, since I went from Google My Business to Google Business. That would be a marketing that I would absolutely pour into. Of course, I want you to do social and not drop the ball on that, but don't do social instead of making calls. I started this, this whole session telling you guys it's not easy. You have to outlast the competition. Go back to the fundamentals of real estate that really are going to build your business. Look at low cost client acquisition. What can you do? Where can you go? And then start to track and measure so that you know that you're actually working as hard as you need to. And you've got some baseline numbers. If I know that my number is every 100 people that I talk to, I get a new transaction, can I get that number down to 90 by improving my skills, by looking at additional lead pillars that are going to get me in my zone of greatness, right? That are going to put me in front of people that are like me. Can I join clubs where there's already people who love dogs? And now we're talking about dogs. And then I can also, offer my real estate services. There's always a way. In this market, though, it requires more than you're used to. Most of us haven't had to work as hard as we need to outlast the competition. So there's always more than you think there is. Don't get caught up with, I had a call this week where they said, well, there's no open houses available. Find one, right? Find one. Find a small broker, find an agent out of area that doesn't want to travel to your area to do an open house. Offer to do an open house for sale by owner. There's always a way. Don't get into the mindset and the negativity, because it's going to be really easy to do that right now. And that's not going to help you get business in the next 30 days. The next 30 days is all about the hustle and grind. It's all about being consistent, doing things over and over again. And guys, I fully realize that sucks and it's hard. It really is hard. But if you want to succeed in this market, that's what's required. So, told you, no big secret. No big secret. It's just what's required. It's just what you need to do. So if I didn't offend you and you are going to implement even maybe that Zillow one, feel free to scan my QR code and drop me a review. I have a goal to get to 50 Google reviews over the next quarter. So I would really appreciate that. But in the end, guys, there is no secret. There is no magic pill. It takes work. And if you can just focus on 2 or 3 things, do them really well, do them consistently, you will find that you do have business and the income will come. If you dabble I worry for you. I really worry for you if you're dabbling. Do not dabble in real estate right now, because the people that are dabbling are the ones that are going to get out of the business. So have that hard conversation with yourself, or ask a friend, ask a mentor. Say, hey, could you help me evaluate my schedule? Could you help me evaluate what I'm doing, because it's not working and I'm not having the success I want? And then take that advice and get into massive action. Please, please, please don't dabble. I appreciate you taking the time to be here. If there's anything else that I can answer for you, make sure to hit me up on social. Just DM me or email me. I'm happy to answer any questions and give you feedback on your schedule and tell you if it's going to get you what you need, or if you're going to have to work harder. So happy Friday. Go sell some homes, go help some people. And I appreciate you taking the time to be here.